Welcome to Snyder's Inc., where the fun never ends. Reactions, gaming, and more with Josh as your friend. Tune in, buckle up, it's a ride you don't wanna miss. Snyder's Inc., let's dive in, feel the ultimate bliss.
Hello everybody, welcome to Snyder's Inc. Today, we got a wrestling reaction. Before we get into it, I just want to mention, because this is an AEW related one, it's on the title. I would like you, I'd like to, let you know if you're going to Forbidden Door at all. Anyone who's watching this, going to Forbidden Door in Toronto, so am I. Come say hi to me if you see me. You probably won't, but if you do, come say hi to me. But let's get right into this. This is 10 AEW rematches that were better than the originals. From the channel called Parts Fun Known, give them a subscribe. Ladies and gentlemen, hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, comment down below. Let's go.
Last week, I compared Hulk Hogan vs. The Rock 2 to Blues Brothers 2000 because that is what noted wrestling fan John Belushi would have wanted. But this wretched sequel and AEW's recent Double or Nothing pay-per-view got me thinking about the good rematches that have come from WrestleCon, and the con is spelled K-H-A-N. AEW has just celebrated its 4th anniversary since the first Double or Nothing, and in those 4 years, we have had many a match and many a rematch. Great sequels exist, and sometimes the best sequels outdo even the originals. So here's to all of AEW's Spider-Man 2s, Terminator Judgment Days, and Toy Story 2s. I'm Tempest hailing from Parts Fun Known, and these are 10 AEW rematches that were better than the originals. But before we get on with this list, make sure of course that you like this video, subscribe, and enable notifications to always on so you never miss a list just like it, and make sure you check out the new show that's debuted here on Parts Fun Known, No Holds Board, where we play classic board games with a wrestling twist. Number 10, Darby Allin vs. Samoa Joe. You know, I'm not afraid to say
This is insane that this is on here. This match is crazy though. Like, Joe and Darby were just meant to wrestle each other. Joe works better. This Joe works way better because it's just a big man that can brutally beat the hell out of Darby Allin. It's all out chaos. I don't think I would have put it on this list, but it was really fun matches. I love them both.
Say it. I think Darby Allin is Samoa Joe's best in-ring rival of like the last 7 years, maybe more. Their trilogy of matches were very entertaining. Definitely the best thing to happen to the TNT title since Sammy Guevara cuttered Cody Rhodes all the way back to WWE, and a perfect example of a rivalry getting better with each match. Darby Allin works best when he has a real big boy to throw him around like a rag doll, and what better big boy is there than Joey Samoa? Their first match was a ton of fun, but that fun was built upon tenfold when Darby won the title from Joe, and the pair decided to settle matters in a no-holds-barred match on Dynamite in February. This climactic match was the best of the bunch, with Darby and Joe compounding their violent feud of violence into the most violent match of the bunch. Rapid title changes are sometimes looked down on in favor of long title reigns, but this was an example of a great feud punctuated.
I hate that thought process, because listen, I've seen too many long title reigns, okay? I'll say it, there's too many of them. There's too many long title reigns. There was Roman Reigns, Gunther, MJF, Bianca Belair's was thing. We had like the Usos, which was taking forever. Owens Cassidy's pretty fun. Actually, Owens Cassidy's maybe the one exception where like his long title reign I'm actually enjoying. But like, there were so many long title reigns going on. I am perfectly fine with short ones. I'm fucking fine with it.
By Joe regaining his title after only a month in the best match possible. Number 9, Jon Moxley vs. Chris Jericho. Oh, how much the entire world changed in between these two matches. The first time Chris Jericho and Jon Moxley clashed in an AEW ring, it was the main event of just their 4th ever pay-per-view. Chris Jericho entered as AEW World Champion. Jon Moxley entered with an eye patch, and we were all blissfully unaware of the unprecedented times that were just 2 weeks away. The first match at Revolution is good, and after Moxley becomes just the 2nd ever AEW champion, Jericho said he was going to get his title back, but he neglected to say when, and it's a good thing he did, because it turns out Jericho held on to that receipt for 2.5 years. When Mox and Jericho met again, it was at the Shake and Bake by the lake, and they tore the house down. Jon Moxley was on fire at the time as the AEW interim.
I disagree with this. I actually didn't like this match. I'm not even gonna lie, I actually didn't like this match. Ooh, this is gonna be interesting. Our page clearly disagree. But then again, that might have something to do with the fact I'm just not a fan of Jericho or Moxley anymore. Like, Moxley's constant need to have just unnecessarily violence and like blood in every match and that, it just doesn't work for me. But, Jericho's like sports entertainment thing just didn't do it for me. So I guess it just is. I wasn't a fan of the two. So that might have something to actually do with me not liking the match, not having anything to do with the match itself. But yeah, I wasn't a fan of this rematch.
World champion, taking on all comers and having 4-star matches with each of them. And in this case, they followed up their dramatic bit of theater centered on Moxley's injured eye from 2020 with just a fight. A fight that ended with the crowd chanting "Fight Forever," both men covered in blood, and Jericho choked out on the mat. The summer of 2022 wasn't an easy one for AEW, but there is no denying the AEW title was in good, often very bloody hands. Number 8, Pac versus Andrade El Idolo. Oh, to return to the days of 2021 where
I got these two had a singles rivalry, because all I remember is like the weirdness of Death Triangle and all that crap.
the sun was bright and AEW Rampage was premier programming. Actually, as I say this, Rampage was very good last week, so check it out. I love you, Shibata-san. Rampage in the year of our Lord 2021 was populated by fan-tastic matches like the ones we got between Andrade El Idolo and Pac. The first, on the September 11th episode, was a lovely appetizer of what was to come, with Andrade getting his first big AEW win with the help of Chavo Guerrero. But when they then met on the October 18th episode, they presented the main course, and what a feast it was. These men did not seem to give a single damn about the state of their necks, which last I checked was a very important part of a human body, with avalanche brainbusters and DDTs on the apron galore. AEW had more great matches in 2021 than many promotions have in a decade, but Pac vs. Andrade 2 was among the best of them. I swear, when we are getting matches like this with this kind of regularity again, that is when you will get your Rampage review back. Number 7, Jon Moxley vs. Wheeler Yuta. Speaking of great
Yes, 100% agree with this one. The second match between, I think it's the second or third match between them two, where Yuta's just covered in blood, battling for and earning the respect of all of them. Absolutely unbelievable. Fan-fucking-tastic. I love it.
Rampage matches, one of the things AEW does better than any other promotion is show a young wrestler's progression through a series of matches and rematches. There have been a number of examples of this, like Willow Nightingale and Jade Cargill, but my favorite will always have to be Wheeler Yuta's journey from best friends whipping boy to his Blackpool Combat Club initiation. In October 2021, Yuta stepped into the ring with Jon Moxley and was dispatched in 1 minute and 10 seconds. In February 2022, Yuta did a little bit better, not quite making it to the level of a competitive match, but holding his own much better, but still falling in 7.5 minutes, all building to his real test against Moxley on the April 8th edition of Rampage, where he went move for move, hold for hold, blood for blood with Moxley in one of the best AEW matches of the year. What you may think of Yuta now a year later aside, in this match they made him a somebody in one of the most effective star making.
They made him a legit star in one this is the best use of how to build a star I've actually ever seen. They did this without even having to, they didn't do no big storyline, over ridiculous it was just this in-ring work that did it. It's incredible.
Making performance of the last few years. Number 6, Kenny Omega versus Pac.
Of course, it's Kenny Omega and fucking Pac. I don't care about my story, it's Kenny Omega and Pac. Of course them two are gonna have like the best matches. The best match and their rematch is going to be even better than the first match. Kenny Omega has to one-up himself in every single chance he gets.
Remember when Kenny Omega vs. Pac was announced just as a replacement match for the first All Out the week of the show? What a world. A match of that magnitude for the first time ever, just pulled out of Tony Khan's bag of tricks. A great match it was, as well, as Pac upset Omega, making him pass out to the Brutalizer and handing him his second straight pay-per-view loss to open his AEW career. Remember that narrative that the Elite were booking themselves to lose too much? What a world. Their second match on the 9th episode of Dynamite was the weakest of their series, but thankfully Kenny Omega won that one, so it gave us a reason to have a rubber match. Their third match, the subject of this entry, was one of the best Iron Man matches ever, clocking in at
I actually don't remember this Iron Man match. It's probably just because it's so early in that I forgot about it, but that's, that's fine. I have a bad memory.
Just over a half hour of all-out, non-stop, drop-dead, one-winged bastard pinning action. People still regard Pac and Kenny's Iron Man match as one of the all-time best matches in Dynamite history, as the two most dynamic wrestlers on the roster fought to a stalemate, only to have the match restarted in sudden death overtime, where Omega fired up, hit the Kamigoye, and the one-winged angel for the win. What a world. Number 5, Jon Moxley versus Hangman Page. I am not going to wish for any wrestler to ever
This is a tough one because, again, this is the thing where Moxie's unnecessary need for super over-the-top violence doesn't sit well with me as a wrestling fan.
suffer an injury, much less one to their head and or brain. But Hangman Page's incredibly scary concussion in his first ever match with Jon Moxley became the root cause for their incredibly personal, incredibly violent rivalry that just got better with every match. Page taking the rematch in LA was a good step forward, and Mox returning that favor in his home state of Ohio set us up for their final match to date and the best of them all at Revolution in a Texas death match. Now, am I one to take joy in seeing someone repeatedly stabbed in the forehead with a fork as blood spurts out onto another man's chest? Not usually, but when it is the climax of a blood feud over a guy making the other guy forget his child's name, I can tolerate it. And that goes double when the death match in question is one of the very best of its kind and maybe the best ever on American pay-per-view. Is that crazy to say? It might be crazy.
How do you feel? I need to know. Let me know in the comments for AEW fans. How do you feel about the level of violence Moxley goes? Do you think it's fine? Like, I'm curious because it doesn't do much for me, but I'm curious what you all think.
To say, but this match was just every bit as violent as it needed to be, with the violence tied together in a very bloody little bow by two of the best workers in the entire company. Number 4, Cody Rhodes versus Sammy Guevara. The very first match in AEW.
Yeah, when it comes to the ladder match and shit, yeah, I mean, you ain't gonna touch that. That's like the best ladder match one of the best ladder matches I've seen. Because the pure, ridiculous, stupid shit, it's amazing. It's Cody's send-off. He got Cody cut it off a ladder into WWE.
Dynamite history, where Cody Rhodes arrived as the undeniable hero of the people, and Sammy Guevara entered wearing a panda head, calling himself the best ever and sporting a singles record of 0-1, which seems like a bit of an oxymoron, but we move. That match was what it was, and what that was a very good TV opening match. But when these two crossed paths again 2 years later, an incalculable amount had changed for both of them. Sammy was now a decent mid-card babyface, enjoying a decent reign as TNT champion, while Cody was a little more undesirable than he was undeniable in the eyes of the AEW faithful. A great match between the two on the Christmas night edition of Rampage had Cody once again beating Sammy to regain the TNT title, but then all of this built to one of the greatest ladder matches ever in Cody's farewell to AEW. Indeed, another example of a rivalry getting better with each match. At Beach Break, this ladder match was off the f***ing chain. Regardless of how Cody, Brandy, or the fans choose to look back on Cody's time with the company, we can always look back on Sammy cuttering Cody out of the AEW universe as one of the greatest spots.
It is the greatest final spots I have actually ever seen in a career.
In wrestling history. Number 3, CM Punk versus MJF. Had CM Punk and MJF been able to complete their 2022...
I mean, this is the rivalry everyone praises with Punk. This is the rivalry that's one of the rivalries that's going to define Punk. Him and MJF. It is. You can hate it or not, it's going to be one of the rivalries that define CM Punk's career.
Trilogy of matches, who's to say that their third match wouldn't have been their best? Maybe we'll still get a chance to find out, teehee. But as of the time of this recording, Punk and MJF is a fantastic pair of matches, highlighting maybe the best told story in AEW's history. Their first match in Chicago was goddamn brilliant, returning to the scene of their first iconic promo showdown and wrestling for nearly 40 minutes in the main event. On the same show as the second Moxley-Yuta match. Ain't that tidy? MJF was able to choke Punk out with his wrist tape before being caught, and the match restarted only for MJF to cheat again with the help of Wardlow, so MJF could parade around saying he was 2-0 against Punk. Well, that just wouldn't do, so a dog collar match was set for Revolution, where they went to war and blew off their months-long feud. Some people say this match is a little overindulgent, but I love it, and I can...
No, I prefer this. Like, this is... No, see, this works better for me. This I'll work with, because I can find... No, I'm not going to thumbtacks and over-top violence. It worked, because this is a literal months-long rivalry. This isn't like... Well, these two have had 2 matches with each other and brawled about 2 or 3 times. That's it. Texas Death Match, right? Like, that's pretty much what Hangman and Moxley was. Or with other matches, Moxley will just say, I want to invite you to stipulate a match. That's it. It's a blood feud. This is what a blood feud is.
Comfortably say it is my favorite AEW match of 2022. From Miseria Canter being Punk's entrance, to the multiple callbacks to their past, and finally Wardlow's very sports entertaining babyface turn, the dog collar match is one of the most satisfying endings to an AEW story yet. But not the most satisfying, that would be. Number 2, Kenny Omega versus Hangman Page. 2 years of
Obviously.
story all led to this. Another strength AEW had, maybe more so during their first few years than these days, was their ability to provide a satisfying end to a specific act of a storyline while saving the grand finale for down the line. Such was the case with this, the soap opera in tight story that was Kenny Omega versus Hangman Page. Fed up with the disintegration of their tag team, Kenny embarked on his solo mission, a mission that saw him go face to face with his former partner in the finals of the Eliminator tournament at Full Gear 2020, a match to settle the score from their broken tag team. A great match at that, with Omega snagging the win that would lead him to the AEW title soon after. But that was not the
And you could tell. Someone tell Ollie Davis this was actually good, because he hates Hangman Page with every ounce of passion when it comes to him and his world title. Ollie Davis and Wrestle Talk needs to learn this shit.
grand finale of this story. No. That would come 1 year later at Full Gear 2021, after Hangman Page had undergone his own personal journey. The two squared off again for the AEW World title. Somehow, Kenny Omega was able to pull off one of the best matches of the year, despite the room spinning and his body being held together with athletic tape, but that's just what goats do. Complete with the emotional stamp that was the Young Bucks encouraging Hangman to do what he had to do, Hangman signed off the final act of this all-time classic story with one final buckshot. And number 1, the Young Bucks versus the Lucha Brothers. You know, I
mean, it's a ladder match to a cage match. What do you mean? There's no... How do you even... Like... I mean, what do you expect here? I'm just saying. Would you all I don't know if this tops the other two. I don't know on this one.
I don't know if there has ever been a more forgotten 4 3/4 star match than the Young Bucks versus the Lucha Brothers from Double or Nothing 2019. One of the marquee matches for AEW's first ever show, this match just got lost in the shuffle between Cody and Dustin's emotional masterpiece and the debut of Jon Moxley. Not satisfied to play third fiddle on these shows, the Young Bucks and Lucha Brothers said, okay, fine, let's just have the best ladder match of all time, and then, oh yeah, why not just throw in the best cage match of all time for good measure? Except, you know, the Lucha Brothers said it in Spanish. All Out 2019 and 2021 both feature the best match of the night in the form of these two sets of brothers going buck-ass wild and setting new standards for all other ladder and cage matches to follow.
No, I don't like that. No, okay. See, here's the thing. Here's why these two, this is why I'm gonna get heat here. This is where me and wrestling fans are gonna be. I hate these two matches. Okay, the ladder match is more, I haven't actually watched it, so I get it. The cage match pissed me off. The level of not selling and little of it just doesn't work for me. But the fact that it's a spot fest, which means it's really fun, doesn't work for me. That's not how I like my shit. So this doesn't fully work for me. This can't. Mainly the list. Even if I'm gonna pretend like the rest of it's fine, the final spot, the final setup of the finish of this cage match left such a sour taste in my mouth that I don't think I've ever gone past it and was able to like it again.
Going buck-ass wild and setting new standards for all other ladder and cage matches to follow. Whether it be a Canadian destroyer through a table or a high cross off the cage, these two teams have built off their first AEW match every single time they have gotten in a ring since. And I ain't even talk about the 5-star match they had on Rampage last year. God, I just want Rampage to be good every week. And that's our list. Make sure.
Alrighty. Ladies and gentlemen, that is it for this reaction video. Let me know what you think in the comments. What, in your opinion, is the best AEW rematch that is better than the originals? Ladies and gentlemen, thank you all for watching. Hit the like button, subscribe button, and I'll see you all for the next one.